Can everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? So everyone is standing. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Families and friends of the graduates, my colleagues in the Lenox Public Schools, and of course the members of the Lenox Memorial High School class of 2021. There's purportedly a Chinese curse that says, quote, "May you live in interesting times." There's not much evidence for this actually being a Chinese curse, just as it seems Albert Einstein never said most of the things that are popularly attributed to him. But whatever its source, that curse is insightful. We've all discovered over the past 16 months, some of us in terrible ways, that these truly have been and remain interesting times. We all know that living in the midst of this pandemic has placed on each of us, and all of us together, a great burden. Since mid-March 2020, no segment of the population has had its life affected more by COVID-19 than students attending elementary and secondary school. And no subgroup of students has had its expectations dashed more thoroughly than the members of the class of 2021. Its predecessor, the class of 2020, had the last 3 months of its senior year effectively canceled. But the class of 2021 had not only its penultimate year in high school effectively canceled, the students here today in their caps and gowns have seen all but the last 33 school days of their senior year in a state of flux. Only on April 27th did full-time in-person classes resume, and only then did something like a semblance of normal school life return. One might be tempted to say that these last 15 months have not been a true education at all for these students. So much was disrupted. So much was erratic. So many opportunities other classes have been afforded were denied to them. Let's consider for a moment the validity of that observation. If by a true education we mean a smoothly run, presented set of opportunities to take classes under optimal conditions, to have full athletic seasons, to participate in drama and music and other extracurricular activities, and to associate daily for 6 hours with classmates, both in and out of class, then yes, it's true. These last 15 months did not give the members of the class of 2021 a true education. The problem with that analysis is that it's based on a concept of education that's too narrow. Most of us see education as preparation for what follows, for college or university studies, for the workforce, for service to one's country. All those things matter greatly, but I submit that they aren't the essence of education. Training for life itself, no matter what a person wants to do, or becomes, or must undergo in the process, is something more profound. The French have a synonym for education. That synonym is formation, formation, the ultimate project of an education. What's to be formed in this process? The skills needed for success in a literate culture, a competitive economy, and a self-governing society, to be sure. But I believe there's an aspect of education that underlies the correct use of the skills and abilities fostered in the classroom and on the playing field, and most importantly, at home. That aspect of formation is character. Its development, its enhancement, its maintenance, its manifestation in dire circumstances. In 1929, Ernest Hemingway told Dorothy Parker in a New Yorker interview that courage is, quote, grace under pressure. Hemingway's word was not courage, actually, it was guts. But the objective is the same. That objective is to deal well with adversity, to manage it, to learn from it, to gain strength of character from it. The ancient Greeks spoke of there being 4 essential characteristics of human excellence. The names in English of these so-called cardinal virtues are prudence, self-control, justice, and courage. A debate has gone on for centuries about the priority of these virtues. Which one is the greatest? I believe that the specific excellence that all the others presuppose is courage, sometimes translated as fortitude. It's the ability to face down fear and discouragement, to navigate through them and to move on. It's what Plato calls in the Republic soteria, steadfastness of character. The members of the class of 2021 may feel that they've been denied opportunities that other senior classes have had. But the members of the class of 2021 can view what's happened through another lens as well. They've been challenged as no other class has been challenged. They've been afforded opportunities again and again to test themselves, to test their resiliency, their creativity, their patience, their ingenuity, their basic decency in ways that no other graduating class has had. Learning to manage adversity well is something that many people never accomplish. Without our intending that it be so, the last 15 months of the education of the class of 2021 has been an extended exercise in learning to manage adversity well. The courage that the members of the class of 2021 have had to muster, to persevere, to show grace under pressure, and to move on the better for it all, will be their legacy to all who follow them. Their courage, not bravado, not self-regard, but grace under pressure, sets down a marker that few members of classes that follow will approach. No high school class I have encountered has ever had to face what you have faced these last 15 months. And you have done it well. My admiration for what you've done is boundless. All best wishes to you. You're a remarkable group of young people.
Good afternoon. Before I begin, I would like to thank the superintendent, our administration, teachers and staff, and family and friends for joining us to celebrate all of our accomplishments on this special day. As the last week of February 2020 rolled around, smiles crept across the class of 2021's faces as we watched a presentation on the Washington, D.C. trip, and we thought about the days we would miss classes with dreamy eyes. Notifications of group chats danced across our phone screens while we anxiously awaited room assignments. The grade above us raved about how the trip brought their class closer, and the topic of every lunch table in the cafeteria seemed to center around the trip 2 weeks out. The evening of February 28th, though, our smiles quickly flipped, and every conversation and text message focused on our confusion and anger over the trip's cancellation. 2 weeks later, when the bus was supposed to leave for DC, we stayed inside isolated, fearful of the future. On the days we had plans to peruse museums and view historical monuments, we walked around quiet neighborhoods with our parents. Change, by definition, is the act or instance of making something different. Change is unexpected, life-shattering, triumphant, and terrifying, yet somehow it is the truest thing that I know. I have realized that change is inevitable. Everyone's life is littered with it, no matter who they are or what stage of life they are in. In fact, there is a magic in the transformation occurring in front of us every day, each second bringing a spark of new opportunity. However, this conclusion was not always clear to me. For most of my life, the thesaurus of my brain connected the concept of change with words like danger, vulnerability, and loss. After all, there is comfort in consistency. As humans, we find safety in what we know. Even the parts of our lives that are inevitably frustrating, boring, or sad are often all right, because we wake up expecting them. If things change, our shield of stability is shattered. Our lives are suddenly different, which means we could be hurt, or angry, or if we're really lucky, isolated in a pandemic. It makes sense that in order to protect ourselves, we fear what is out of our control. When I began to write this speech, I was dead set against even the slightest mention of COVID-19. I thought, COVID has robbed so much from us. Our final sports seasons, musical performances, a real prom. Does it need to consume our graduation too? However, if I wrote a speech about change and failed to mention the most massive transformation that we as a collective group have experienced together, wouldn't I be falling victim to the fear that surrounds change? As a class, we do not get to have many of the collective experiences that typically define a group's time in high school. We do not have memories of class trips or large school dances. Rather, we have Zoom meetings, virtual college visits, and 15 months without seeing our entire class in person to look back on. We have change. Right now, we, the class of 2021, are quite possibly on the brink of another one of the greatest changes in our lives thus far. No matter what our plans for the future include, it is certain that we are leaving behind a sense of familiarity. We will no longer have the comfort of saying good morning to peers and faculty as we enter the building. The stable schedule of school that we've gotten used to over the past 7 years will never again outline our days. And seeing the classmates that we grew up with will likely become a rarity. Thinking of how much change is in store for us, it is easy to feel unsettled. However, we have done this before. Our world as we knew it flipped on its head last March. At times, we were lonely, frustrated, worried, and angry over the situation. Nevertheless, when we came face to face with change, we persisted. We found glimmers of joy and hope in the most difficult times. And despite all of the alterations, we are here today, excited for our next adventure. So now, as we move on from the hallways of LMMHS, I encourage everyone to continuously shift their perspectives. Instead of fearing change, embrace it. If we spent our whole lives running away from what could go wrong, we wouldn't be where we are today. In fact, we would still be the same nervous middle schoolers that walked into that building years ago. Without change, there is no growth. It is a beautiful thing that we can constantly evolve to better versions of ourselves. At any instant, we can be kinder individuals, more knowledgeable students, and find new passions and things that bring us joy. Without change, we may remain comfortable, but we also lose out on the possibility of excitement and opportunity. So as we move into our next journey, do not agonize over the new and the different. Welcome the opportunities that sneak their way into your life. Reflect and seek out ways to improve. Celebrate new beginnings despite the difficulties of many endings. We can never have full confidence that good things will come our way. In fact, I've realized that one of the only things that we can count on is change. Nonetheless, we cannot fear it. After all, it is amazing to think that just as quickly as things can change for the worse, they can change for the better. Congratulations, class of 2021. I could not be more excited to see the positive changes we will all make in this world.
Everyone wants to be successful in life. But what is success? Is it making millions of dollars, changing the world, or having a great job? Well, someone who is successful may have all of these things. This is not what defines success. In my opinion, being successful in life means being happy. If I asked you to think of what makes you happy, what would your answer be? Very shortly, we will all be taking the next steps in our lives, whether that is going to college, going into the military, or working full-time. Either way, we are entering a whole new world, what many people call the real world. Most people are probably both excited and nervous about stepping foot into this new world. As we become part of the real world, we have to make sure that we are doing things that make us happy. One worry that I have for myself is that I'll fall into the monotony of life, doing the same thing over and over nearly every day. I just don't want my life to go by in the blink of an eye by getting caught up in the cycle of working 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. I think that the most important thing in life is to do things that bring you joy. The job that you have in the future may bring you that joy. However, if it doesn't, you have to find things that will bring you joy in the other potentially 6 to 8 hours that are yours in each and every day. When I started high school, my priorities were school and then other things that made me happy. However, after 4 years of high school, and this year especially, my priorities have changed. While school is important to me, it is not a priority over other things that make me happy. Looking back on this past year, I've gained a lot from this experience, and I actually had a really great year. This is because I made sure that I did things that brought me joy, rather than waiting to have time to do things that made me happy. Many people here may know this, and some may not, but I love hunting and fishing. I used to just go hunting occasionally on weekends because I never had time to hunt on weekdays due to school and sports. However, this year, with there being no sports and doing school remotely, I was able to go hunting more often. One day, rather than waiting for the weekend, I decided to go ice fishing in the morning during school. I brought all of my schoolwork with me and had a great time. I still got all of my schoolwork done while I was enjoying fishing and caught many fish. Oh. When I think of someone who lived their life by doing things that made them happy, I think of my grandpa. Similar to me, he found joy in fishing and hunting, among many other things. He didn't make billions of dollars or have an amazing job. Instead, he worked at a paper mill. However, I would still say that he lived a very successful life. This is because he did things that brought joy to his life. For example, one thing that he loved to do was make jam. He would always tell me to come to his house in the morning to help him make jam. He would tell me to come over at 8. However, when I got there, he would almost be done because he started at 6. This may be a bit dramatic, but he didn't wait to do something that made him happy. Instead, he went out and did it. It can be very hard to know what makes you happy sometimes. You may want to just keep doing the same thing every day, but you have to go out and find what brings you joy. None of us should settle for an average life. Even if the moments of joy are tiny, grab a hold of as many of those moments as you can every single day.
School is just a place. It's filled with great memories that we should all embrace. A grade is just a number or letter, as we all strive to do better. Every year was a blur. There are no other teachers, staff, or classmates I would prefer. Sometimes it was boring, sometimes it was fun. However, we're not quite done. It was easy, it was hard, through each and every good and bad report card. COVID threw us a curveball, which I'm sure we can all recall. Every day on Zoom was a pain. We look at COVID with disdain. We made it through every mountain and valley, and we are now here at the finale. There are not enough words to describe my appreciation. I think we can all agree that the teachers and staff showed some truly amazing dedication. Thank you, and congratulations to the class of 2021.
Lenox is the kind of school where everyone knows everyone. I can confidently say that every time I walk down the hallways, I could put a name to nearly every face I passed. Although Lenox is known for its impressive education and advanced curriculum that have gotten us to where we are today, it's the people within our school that have made this journey so memorable. The year is 2016. You're sitting in Miss Keene's hot classroom on a humid May afternoon in her G period math class. It's the bridge project. Glue is sticking to hands, toothpicks are covering the ground, and Miss Keene is sitting at her desk waiting to sign our checks. Whose bridge will fall? Whose will withstand the weight of the various aimless items Miss Keene had lying around her room? Although that was around 6 years ago already, I can still feel the excitement that hot upstairs classroom felt on those days. Now flash forward 2 years later to freshman year, our first year across the hall in the high school wing. Picture yourself sitting in Mr. Fisher's classroom. We're watching Leonardo DiCaprio butcher a South African accent, reading Persepolis, and gaining some of the most valuable advice from Mr. Fisher that anyone could ask for. There will always be someone smarter, bigger, and better looking than you, and don't ever forget that. Continuing on the 2-year streak, picture yourself now in a junior year English or history class. We have just finished our third quarter project, our math tests, reading The Great Gatsby, and now getting ready for the infamous end of junior year research project. Well, we all know how that went. Now to break the pattern, 1 year later, we're here now. It's always funny when someone asks me how many people are in my graduating class. They're astounded at the fact there's only 61 of us. When I say that at Lenox everyone knows everyone, I mean it. While some may see this as a curse, I have grown to see this as a blessing. With such a small class, we were able to cultivate genuine memories and relationships during our time here at Lenox, something that I know would not have been the same at a bigger school. We crafted memories as shared experiences and learned together in and out of the classroom. It's easy to be everyone's fan at Lenox, from cheering people on at soccer and football games to dancing in the audience of the school musical. When you're sitting in those stands or in the auditorium, you know exactly who you're supposed to be cheering for. All of those small moments have been building up to this moment. We're here now, about to leave the place we've come to know like the back of our hand. We're here to say goodbye to the people that have been by each other's side for years now. And while the future has always seemed like a far-off dream, our experience and time here at Lenox has prepared us for anything that might come our way. We know how to properly do quotes and notes while reading books in college thanks to Ms. Getson. We know to never second-guess ourselves when answering a question in class, thanks to Dr. Weaver and Dr. Stranko. And we know how to always find the joy in every situation, no matter how bleak, thanks to Mr. Cogswell. And most of all, we have learned how to be people and make everyone feel like a somebody, thanks to each other. Congratulations, class of 2021.
Early last week, our Active Minds Club filled the entrance sidewalk with words of encouragement. Our seniors were gone, of course. They wrote positive quotes and phrases. They wrote words, all on the sidewalk with colorful sidewalk chalk. They were meant to brighten the day for anyone that took time to pause and just read them. Class of 2021, you brighten my day. I don't need a sidewalk. I just look out at you and see your positivity. The quote that stood out to me out of the hundreds that were written on the sidewalk was, "You have survived 100% of your bad days." You have survived 100% of your bad days. How simple. The class of 2021 proved they were equipped with a positive mindset. I had no idea what Cooper was going to say when he came to this podium today, and he mentioned the positivity that follows this class. You're each prepared with a bad day toolkit, as Abby mentioned about Mr. Cogswell's preparation. For 15 months, you were thrown into a roller coaster of unknowns. Changes in learning, changes in the instructional delivery, and you were not given a great deal of training. No one ever told you to go fishing while doing class. But here we are, ready to graduate, the entire class. No one is left behind. Everyone is in this life raft, the class of 2021 life raft. I've seen you do hard things. I've noticed that you would point out what is right. I've seen you say thank you. I have seen your incredible positivity, and I've seen your success in reaching all your goals. I often have felt that I haven't spent enough time with the class of 2021 because of the pandemic. But somehow I know without asking, I would not be able to convince you to stay just one more year. But I will remember all of you when I'm spinning through a day that feels like the worst day ever. I'll remember you because I know your positivity is contagious, even more contagious than COVID-19. Thank you, class of 2021. It has been a blast. School Committee Chairman Robert Vaughn, Interim Superintendent Dr. William Cameron, As principal of Lenox Memorial High School, I certify that these seniors have met all requirements set forth by the Lenox Public Schools in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. By the power vested in me, I hereby declare the class of 2021 to be graduates of Lenox Memorial High School. Alexa Lauren Yazinski. Alexia Jomira Morales Jado. Lian Wien. Marley Lane Gambaroni. Olivia Millie Hart. Camila Herrera. Ellen Jane Hughes. Alexandra Isabel Jerez. Hannah Ray Lagonia. Carla Robolino. Ariana Lee Roberts. Ella Marie Smith. Darlenis Lizeth Valero Calderon. Amy Suzanne Alderton. Madeline Paige Berinsky. Emma Josephine Butler. Carolyn Hookshee Cass. Jacob Goodman Fanto. Joshua Daniel Hunter.
Yes, sir.
Chris Marie Jordan. Rebecca Alex Lagonia. Jacqueline Ann Sibley. Rachel Ruth Tansman. Sophia Rose Tisdale. Catherine Barron Valinsky. Natalie Milagros Vizcardo. Samuel Vitali McCaffrey. Jonathan David Cruz Arroyave. Emily Hope Blake. Kevin John Blake Jr. Jenna Elise Cody. Anya Victoria Doherty. Robin Virginia Jolly. Eva Lynn Lyon. Abigail Lee Murphy. Anna Jacqueline Najimy. Mateo Jovan Phillips. Matthew Luke Fletcher. Robert Henry Romeo. Cooper Hugh Shepherdson. Logan John Rybrecht. Ted Kataden Yee. Cameron David Abdallah. Andre Francis Collins. Brandon Arthur Height. Nathan David Armstrong. Eli Arnett Carroll. Noah James Collingwood. Bryson Andrew Loeffner. Averin Gray Paradise. Brendan John Sullivan. Tanner William Shepard. Jonathan Min Tran. Dylan Peter Matthew Tyre. Colin David Young. Spencer Mateo Ingalls. Daniel Harper Munch. Luke Peter Patella.
Yeah, Luke.
Gabriel Thomas Wigington.
Yeah.